Everyone, we are full in the chat because I am extremely late. Today is one of these days where you wonder what is even going on. Are you guys there? Can everyone hear me? 9:23. Yes, we have some people there. I'm very sorry for being so late. That was quite a wild day, and not just because of Tesla, but Tesla was a good starting point for a terrible day. Sometimes everything needs to go wrong on the same day. I was on the phone with banks and all kinds of stuff, totally unrelated with the brokerage account. It's just astounding. I don't know what's going on in this world, but randomly some of my bank accounts or brokerage accounts get shut down frequently for no good reason. And then I'm on the phone and in panic mode for hours and hours with these people. And then it always turns out that they say, oh, oops, well, we just shut it down just because. There was money coming into your account, so we had to shut it down. Very astonishing. And then I had to do crypto transactions while they unlock the bank account and everything. I am quite disturbed by the frequency of these things, and they never provide a reasonable reason. I said, well, it was just a precaution because money was transferred into your bank account. That's the point. Or your trader account. So that was very stressful while I was watching Tesla getting absolutely destroyed, and I was totally not prepared for that. And I had to rearrange, of course, my portfolio a little bit because I was short puts and they got totally destroyed, obviously. So I needed to shift and shuffle them down. Everything's fine now. We have it under control, but it's a very bad day, obviously. And of course, everyone is asking, what the hell is going on with Tesla today? Because yesterday we had such a beautiful day. We were up against the trend. I interpreted yesterday as a good sign that people are waking up, that SpaceX stops sucking the oxygen out of Tesla. And when today happened, right, you probably watched SpaceX up a lot, was 6% up, now only 2.9% up, recovering from its brutal drop that was extremely predictable, that will probably continue after a little bit of a run, because we still have index inclusions going on for SpaceX over the next couple of weeks. So there's still some buying pressure, but then this thing is overvalued tactically by every possible valuation metric except for mine. But no one on the street is too interested in mine. That would be too smart. But in any conventional valuation metric, SpaceX is ridiculously overvalued. I think it's undervalued on a DCF level. But for example, price to sales, price to revenue, if SpaceX would trade at the same revenue multiple of 13 that Tesla is trading, that stock would be at $35. And some people say Tesla is overvalued. So if you would value SpaceX like Tesla based on revenue multiples, that thing would be at 35, just to give you a sense of what I think, how much this thing could potentially drop. It's now down 20% in 5 days. Of course, it was up a lot at IPO. But my thesis was, back to Tesla, my thesis was yesterday that all the SpaceX stuff is sucking the oxygen, the cash oxygen out of Tesla, and therefore Tesla is under much more selling pressure than it should be because people are selling Tesla to buy SpaceX to a larger extent than I thought. That was the pressure on Tesla all the way until Friday last week. Then yesterday, on Monday, we had a beautiful day, market down, but Tesla up 1.5%. A very encouraging move, and I thought, well, this is very good news. This is very good news. Maybe now people come to their senses and understand how massively undervalued Tesla is comparatively to SpaceX, and we are off to the races. So I increased, of course, my exposure to Tesla through short puts, synthetic leverage. And of course, what happens the next day? A complete crash out of absolutely nowhere. Only good news on the horizon. Europe sales up by a lot. I will get to this in a second. Europe sales up by a lot. Cyber caps all over the place. deployed even more in Houston on the parking lots and everywhere. So I was prepared for another green day, maybe sideways. And then we have this complete destruction of Tesla today. And I could not figure out what the hell is going on. And after doing more research, I come to the conclusion now. It is not SpaceX. It's not SpaceX's rise, because we could argue maybe now people go crazy again. SpaceX is up 2.9%. Maybe that's mostly Tesla sellers going into SpaceX, and maybe that is a little part of it, but that does not explain a 6% down day. And after doing more research and thinking, I come to the terrible conclusion that this piece of fake news is indeed the main driver. It's even on CNBC, on CNBS, oh, Tesla under pressure after, federal investigation now, NHTSA on this whole thing. And of course I knew about this thing and I did not take it seriously. I literally thought there is just no way in hell the stock reacts on that. There's just no way in hell. But now I come to the conclusion it has to be that. This idiotic piece of news, 120 people died yesterday statistically in the United States from car crashes. Here comes a Tesla, clearly with some crazy person in the Tesla, pushing the pedal to the metal and driving into a home and unfortunately killing an older lady, which is horrible, in Harris County, Texas, so in Austin County. I thought there is just no way in hell that the stock reacts to that, because it's so dumb. You have a person who's crazy who drives their Tesla into the house, and of course the fake news makes it into, oh, it's FSD, it's the autopilot. Here, Tesla driver using autopilot. I mean, hello, look, the New York, oh my God, I didn't even see it's the New York Times. Like, seriously, people, you read the New York Times? What is wrong with you? Tesla driver using autopilot, which is probably a suable offense, because this is crossing into a lie. It's not just a fake news, it's like a lie, because if you say Tesla driver using autopilot crashes into home, I would argue that headline on an English grammar level actually says that the Tesla driver was using autopilot and the autopilot steered the Tesla into the home. Maybe my English is bad. Maybe I shouldn't become a lawyer, but as a lawyer I would say you cannot construe your way out of the fact that this sentence says a Tesla driver who was using autopilot crashed into a home, and therefore the autopilot crashed into the home. I think that's what the sentence says, and therefore the sentence is a clear lie, because autopilot was disengaged if it's true that the accelerator was held at 100%. And therefore the New York Times should get sued by Elon, because this is a lie. You have to construe your way out and say as a whatever this is called, these people who write these things, well, I meant Tesla driver was using an autopilot and then decided to disengage it and press down the accelerator and then crashed into a home. That is a different sentence from saying Tesla driver using autopilot crashes into a home, okay? It's a lie. The driver told investigators he was using the vehicle's automated driver system when the vehicle left the roadway and crashed into a house in Harris County, Texas. Okay, that sentence is okay. This sentence is clearly a lie. If you say Tesla driver states he was using autopilot when he crashed into a home, that is correct, but you cannot just say he was using autopilot when it's clearly not true, and you clearly had absolutely no evidence that he was, because the driver telling investigators that he was using the vehicle's driver system when the vehicle crashed doesn't mean that's true. And when you look at the video, you clearly see it is not true. So I was not even paying attention to this, because I thought that's so dumb. Who would even react to this? But I tell you guys, I come to the conclusion that this insane drop today is actually because of this idiotic news because you see it actually down here, for example. And of course, let's get to the Europe news. Of course, we live in a time of such a deranged level of news. Sorry, I have to rant. I'm like, ugh. Like deranged level of news that you have only two types of people seemingly writing the news. Totally stupid New York Times so-called journalists, so people who are cuckoo, who are not on top of it, and AI slop. That's your two sources of news. Lies and derangement. Because look at this news. This is even better. Tesla shares fall after US crash probe. Okay, that's okay. And hit to Europe sales. It's like, wait a moment. Wait a moment. Is my English bad? Is my English bad? Didn't I pay attention in school? So when you read the sentence, Tesla shares fall after US crash probe. Okay. Here. Okay, look at this. Tesla shares fall after US crash probe and hit to Europe sales. My English is not very good. As a little beginner in English, I would say and hit to Europe sales. That doesn't mean and Europe sales being a hit, but it means, oh, a hit in the sense of something bad to Europe sales. And it's like, wait a moment, what are you talking about? Aren't Europe sales like through the freaking roof, up 100% year over year? And then they actually say that, and they're like, yo, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Tesla's delivery numbers are due in less than 2 weeks, so this matters to investors. Deliveries, cars that go to customers will be next clear check, blah, blah. UBS bumped its delivery forecast to 405 vehicles, a 5% rise from last year, 13% higher than the year before, but that's in total. Here, Tesla's European registrations as stand-in for sales climbed 107.9% in May to 28,610, marking 4 months of gains. Okay, and then they say BYD registration soared 136. Yeah, on what basis? So, okay. So clearly someone is not just stupid. You're basically saying in your headline the exact opposite of what you mean. Tesla shares fall after hit to Europe sales. Europe sales are up 107%, they say down here. Are you stupid? And given this whole situation, like, okay, fine. So people read this and say, oh, I have to sell Tesla shares because there's a hit to European sales and also they're being investigated. Oh my God, people, like what is even wrong with people? So I do think with, let's say, an 80 to 90% certainty that this is actually the reason why the stock is down an insane 5.72 or whatever, 6% today, which is not good for me or anyone else, but we should chill out. This is literally based on fake news, which means it will literally go up to 400 this week, unless people are completely stupid. But I think these are great buying opportunities. Obviously, the Nasdaq is down 1.92%. But given the behavior of Tesla yesterday, I think that that the stock is actually in a good situation, is actually decoupling a little bit, and it's actually on a recovery pathway. And today was an exception that was probably driven by these idiotic news. So that means it's probably time to buy. I can't even fathom that because this is like insane. There is no other reason I see. So I just had to rant a little bit. I hope you guys are not too mad that I'm so late. But let's see what everyone is saying. Let's see where we are at. Should I actually start in the beginning? But we have probably everyone just being angry that I'm late. Lots of things are down, says Poxy Frostbite. Adobe, my value stock is slightly up. Oh yeah, you're a brave man. You're buying software stocks. In my cross analysis, there's a ton of indicators for mean reversion. USD is getting stronger. Interest rates are holding. USD Japanese funnel is yen funnel is getting shaky. Euro petrodollar is highly sought, etc. Tesla has low sentiment from news sensitive investors and high sentiment from informed investors. I just hope the discount holds for a week so I can buy more at a nice price. Well, I would appreciate it if it doesn't hold for the week. I want to see it back to 400 on Friday. Otherwise, it's annoying for me. All because I need to buy 100 shares. Exactly. Absolute trash. Yeah, it felt like absolute trash. But this is literally fake. Guys, I tell you, this is fake news. It's literally based on fake news. I'm pretty sure at this point. At least not for me. What do we have? Cyber caps on July 4th, America's birthday. Or is this hopium? Nilo, that's definitely hopium. But my hopium is that we actually see some cyber cap action even before July 4th. Because, oh, we have July 4th is also the 250th anniversary. Who knows? I tell you guys, something is going on. Something is going on with Cybercap. They're being deployed everywhere. This is ridiculous. 381.90. I can't even. So a Tesla and FSD killed an old lady. Not really. This is extremely fake news. Yeah, I mean, I can show it to you again. This is literally what the Tesla Newswire says. You see all these idiotic news. A Tesla on autopilot. Wrong. The Tesla was not on autopilot because autopilot disengages once you press down the freaking pedal to the metal. Crashed through a Harris County home. Why is it full self-drive? Why is its full self-driving mode legal? Okay, fine. These people, Texas Monthly. Congratulations, you just got the New York Times prize. Automated vehicles and other self-driving technologies are on the rise. We break down their capabilities and what it means when they cause harm. Yeah, the more I read this, I never pay attention to these idiotic outlets and their crazy clickbait New York Times level journalism. But the market does, I think. And this is for us good news because you're getting free money here. You're getting literally free money. And Ashok himself said 22 hours ago, that's why I didn't pay attention, that was yesterday. In this case, the driver manually overrode self-driving by pressing the accelerator all the way to 100% off the acceleration pedal in this residential area. They reached a speed of 73 miles per hour during the crash and had the accelerator pressed even after the crash. That means that these headlines are just completely fake news. I think fake news is too nice. They are lies that just cost me money. So I want Elon to sue them because they're literally lying. Sue them here. Like Gregory Charles. Like Gregory Charles. Yes, James of Invest Answers. Yoda. Exactly. Human driver fall. The Doge army. The Doge army is also here, I think. So yeah, what the hell? I can't even believe this. Okay, what do we have here? Tesla says he was flooring if they have the data for it, I guess. But the media does its damage as usual. Yeah, but so it's annoying. Don't get me wrong, I'm extremely annoyed. This is not good for my little portfolio this week because this was very unexpected, but it's fine. But I'm telling you guys, this is a suable offense. What else do we have? Tesla can't afford any bad press, even if it's not true. Yeah. Well, I think the market will correct on that because this is ridiculous. Tesla needs to reach out every media outlet who's misleading the public regarding the details of this accident with details and cease and desist letter and damages, because not just stock damages, also damages to FSD reputation. Irokanji says, well, I bought the dip and picked up some more Tesla stock. Exactly. That's what you should do. Is it safe to assume Joe may be tied up and the session may not take place? I was tied up. I had to get a bank transfer done today, but in a time zone 2 hours ahead of here. So it was basically nearly too late. So I was tied up, but I made it happen. Of course, we never give up. The propaganda isn't going to stop. This is like being invested in the railroads or kerosene or the East India Trading Company. Nobody who's jealous likes a winner. Absolutely. But propaganda doesn't hold. You will see. This will recover very quickly. Too bad I already went hard into options yesterday in Tesla and really cannot double down at this point. Just got to hold and pray at this point. Yes, me too. But I'm at least short puts. That gives me, the time is on my side. Can't buy until the next week. I think we will have time, unfortunately. Let's see. Even this thing goes to 420 or whatever, it's still cheap. This is all very cheap. $21 more shares, 380 today. Goodbye. No, this is like, look, here's the big picture. Because Mate says, I'm wondering if something bigger is happening, like inflation or carry trade yet unwinds. We have to make a differentiation between the NASDAQ and Tesla. So what's happening to Tesla today is brutal and it's fake news. I'm now very convinced this is just completely ridiculous. It's based on lies and it should be clarified very quickly and the market should correct this upwards. But that does not change the fact, of course, that we have the NASDAQ down. Why is that? That's very easily explained and we can explain it. Ooh, MicroStrategy is also getting murdered. That's a very interesting video you have to do on MicroStrategy because I think that's a buy. Because I think I know why MicroStrategy is down and that's a very technical reason. And the technical reason for MicroStrategy is that they raised some money. They issued some shares to pay off debt prematurely for a very good price. And that pressure should be over very soon or now. Just a little side note, MicroStrategy. Because that thing is down too much. I can give you a mini insight into strategy. Because let's see where the MNAV is probably under or at 110. Look at this. This is basically how much higher the market cap is over the enterprise value or over the hard value of the assets minus liabilities over the Bitcoin. So that's a very low MNAV. It's only 10% higher than just the raw Bitcoins minus liabilities. They raised some money, 1 billion, roughly 1.5 billion to pay off convertible notes that are due in 2029 or something, like prematurely because they got a good price. So they saved like 200 million. That's why they had to issue some MicroStrategy shares. And that's why I think they're down a little bit, which makes it a buy. So I'm doubling down here as a little side gig besides Tesla. But what is happening to the NASDAQ? That is very simple. The NASDAQ here, negative 2%, but we also have the S&P 500, negative 1.38%. Dow Jones is not doing much. The Dow Jones is totally unharmed. I mean, in the beginning it wasn't, but this is like flat. Dow Jones flat, S&P negative 1.4%, NASDAQ negative 2.1%. And why is that? Do we even have that here? No, we don't have the copy. I tell you guys why. When you go to Korea, there was a, no, that's wrong. Kospi. Stupid. Kospi, look at this. This happened today. The Korean stock market was down 10%. We are talking the market, all of Korea. And that dragged down semiconductors, that dragged down our famous Micron Technologies, for example. Look at this. Look at Micron Technologies. You probably have followed the stock. The darling of the stock market here, year to date, how much up? 267%. It's not a small company, $1.1 trillion, the only American DRAM maker that is serious for chips. Up like crazy, but today down 13% because, as you probably know, in Korea, the entire stock market is now HK and Samsung for chips and RAM because they kind of have cornered the whole RAM market and also parts of the chip market. And the interesting thing is, okay, that led to a sell-off on the NASDAQ because of the entire Korean market is down 10%. That's very scary and drags down all our tech stocks. Tesla is a special case, but that's why Nvidia is down. That's why everyone is down. Nvidia not so much, but it's still down. But Micron getting destroyed, 13% down. But let's put this into perspective. Look at this. I click on year to date now. Look at this. Look at this. The Kospi today down 10%, which sounds horrible, the worst crash ever for our market. But that thing is up year to date in 2026, 90%. We're talking the entire stock market of the country of South Korea. So, okay, fine. 10% market correction in a single day sounds horrible, but not if you look at this chart. This is the year-to-date chart, and this is today's or yesterday's or whatever, yesterday's correction in Korea. That is what the market's reacting to. So we have to put it a little bit into perspective. That is ridiculous. If your stock market is up 90% in 6 months, that is not an AI bubble popping. That is just crazy. A crazy run with some breathers. And as you can see here, by the way, June 4th, beginning of the month, we already had something happening like this. Now it's happening again, but it's higher highs and higher lows, despite being extremely volatile because it's so crazy. I'm not saying Korea is all fine. They are very much on margin and everything, but their companies, Samsung and HK, they're like printing insane amounts of money. So what does it all mean? All in all, there's no reason to panic. The opposite is true. There's reason to be very bullish because AI is just absolutely killing it in making everyone rich. And it's absolutely normal that you have little breathers like this. This is completely intact, this uptrend of Korea. And we are not even in Korea. So yeah, you can't expect the NASDAQ to stay flat when the freaking Korean tech mega market is down 10%. So the NASDAQ is down a little 2%. If you do the same exercise here, year to date, that's how it looks like. If you do 5-year NASDAQ perspective, like, are you kidding me? Is this a bullish uptrend or not? 2023, this is the bullish uptrend. Here you saw the little tariff liberation problem, and it went right back into the trend. Then you saw the little, again, April problem here, Iran war, and then it not just jumped back on the trend, it overshot the trend. So here in May, we went a little too high, in my opinion. We left the trend. You know, I'm not a big stock astrologer, but you can just take your little mouse and draw the trend. You see, this was over the trend. Now we are slightly under the trend. Time to get back on the trend. It's that simple. That's how I do it. If the trend coincides with massive margin, profit, and cash flow growth, and yes, it does. We have margin, we have EBITDA expansion of 50% year over year on the Max 7. So it's all fine. AI is driving us higher. And in the large scheme of things, these are ridiculous. This is not even a correction. It's just ridiculous. That all doesn't help us much as Tesla shareholders. We're getting absolutely destroyed today, but this has nothing to do with the market. It is fake news, and it will be fixed, I hope, this week. Now you have the big picture. Should we keep the NASDAQ on? Yes. Okay, we have 55 new messages. Oh my God, so many messages. Patience Pioneer, who said this? Poxy Frostbite. That's the spirit. Patience Pioneers. I'm actually working on very big things, by the way. Okay. But this is a different story. Joe said the Iran war was over more than a month ago too. Wrong about everything. Well, only that I was right about everything. Wasn't that right about everything? That's a very bad example. Bird tongues. I was 1,000,000% right on Iran, as you can see. Been patient for 9 years since early 2017. Since Elon said 9 years ago FSD will be solved by end of the year. I agree it was very annoying, but we have now a lot of indications that things are actually looking good. Don't give up the second before the takeoff. Exactly. Poxy Frostbite is today the pioneer of the day. Solvi Capital has such a challenge to catch a falling knife. This is not a falling knife. This is exploding fake news. It seems the stock usually tanks in the AM, then recovers a bit in the PM. However, this fell to 380 now. Solvi Capital, you know, when we do big picture stuff on NASDAQ, I'm doing a little stock astrology and trends, but very subdued, right? I'm cautious with this stuff, but you can tell the trend and it makes a lot of sense. When it comes to Tesla, it's a little bit different. I mean, this is 1,000,000% fake news effect. I guarantee you. I thought about this the whole day. It's like, yeah, fake news. Stick to DCA. Yeah, if you're bullish on something and believe fundamentally that it's on the right track, DCA is not a bad thing. I need a haircut. Yes, I need a haircut. Couldn't reach my haircut guy. Today was tough. Yeah, I want to also know why Tesla is trading with the AI hardware stocks. It has nothing to do with that. It was independent. Fudbuster. It's a pile of shit. Robotaxi is a joke and humanoid robot can throw popcorn around. Let's see about this. There's a lot of rebalancing going on. No, this is too much for all these things. That news was out yesterday. That is true, third place. But the press was not out. Like when you look at all the bad press, that was all happening today. It was also only today on CNBC. I don't know when the New York Times published this thing. I don't even know. It was out yesterday. What is autopilot? Autopilot is not FSD. Autopilot is like a precursor of FSD. 2009, Raymond says it's the Korean stock market crash and Tesla not delivering this year. Doubt it has anything to do with the 550 miles an hour crash. I disagree. That's what I thought first. But when I look at the action of the other stocks, of the NASDAQ and then of Tesla, this is not just the market. This is some bad stuff. Some fake news. I am very convinced it's that. Micron is down like 14%. This seemed to me start already earlier today when Korean index. No, because also like it just kept dropping Tesla. I'm pretty sure it's this. Sue them, exactly. Hold them accountable. I mean, we can't allow this anymore. Headline is misleading, absolutely. Why was it so delayed? Came out yesterday. I don't. That's why it took me so long to understand it's actually the news, because I was checking everything else and it's like, no. The algos automatically react to bad headlines. It will bounce back tomorrow. Absolutely. I think so too. Legacy news is clickbaiting only. Exactly. Could Tesla sell off also because of Korea government unrealized wealth tax? I don't even know what's going on with all these governments, like the Netherlands and now Korea. Like, are they all? It feels like the end times, people. Think about it. That's why we have to hurry up with Pioneer Lands. It is a little bit the end times. When governments start to tax unrealized capital gains, no one is so stupid. No one is stupid enough. Shouldn't say no one, but 80% of politicians are not stupid enough to not understand that unrealized capital gains means the end of the country. So if they do it anyway, it means they don't care anymore. They just want to get the money, the last little grasp. So it's very scary for me. Unrealized wealth tax is not just scary because it's taking away our money. It's more scary that if you get politicians into that mindset, it means they're just trying to make it one more day and grab your money and run. That's very scary. So I'm very irritated by these unrealized wealth tax proposals across so many different countries. It means they are not playing the long game anymore. Maybe could, but other Mag 7 are slightly up or even. Yes, exactly. It's too specific for Tesla. It is fake news. And if that's really the reason, this stock will bounce back very hard. Being manipulated, SpaceX. I had another merger discussion today with Herbert, should be out today, basically doubling down on my video from yesterday where we discussed the merger theory. that I'm introducing. The ratchet thing, you should watch it if you didn't do it, because I think I'm right. To make a long story short, I think what Larry Goldberg are saying and Alexander Mertz are saying, a merger of equals, doesn't make sense in this situation, because both Tesla and SpaceX are too volatile to do something like this. Also, merger of equals often or nearly always have a clause in there that if the price of each one deviates more than 20% at the vote, day of the vote, versus the day of announcement, the whole deal is invalid, because you can't have a merger of equals announced and then at the vote suddenly they are completely different companies. So there are normally provisions in there. But when you look at SpaceX this year, SpaceX will have massive selling pressure coming in starting August 11th and going all the way to October, with 400% of current float being added to the market. So there will be massive selling pressure. In order for the stock to not drop like a stone, you will have to add massive buying pressure somehow. But I don't know how you would actually do that. Did the market close? What a disaster. Yeah, market closed as we speak. Tesla down 5.79%. Total insanity. For no reason. The fake news will blow over, says Kzaz Dallas Fort Worth. Your guys' names are like IQ tests for me. I have to read and then come up with what it actually means. I assume DFW means Dallas Fort Worth. The fake news will blow over, but I honestly doubt that is the reason. Very sad, but no Tesla error. Yeah, I think it is the reason, because there must be some form of reason. It's not the Kospi, it's not the NASDAQ. Must be something else. And when I look, I agree with all you guys. I first thought yesterday, this is forget it, this can't be the reason. But after doing more research today and reading all the headlines, like, dudes, if I was stupid and uninformed and a New York Times reader, I was like, oh my God, it's the end of Tesla. So I think it is something like that. Dems own the NYT, yes. Or the people who own the New York Times also own the Dems. I think that's more accurate. How long will it take for a report to come out on it? Hopefully not long. Well, yeah, I even doubt that we need to wait for the report, but yeah. Seeing Joe's live today was like a therapist calling you after your dog dies. Well, I appreciate it. I need a therapist today. Today was a horrible day, but that's very nice. It's our little therapy session here. We will make it. This is just a question of time, and I do not think this drop will be sustained very long. FSD, driving perfect for millions of miles. This is completely ridiculous, this whole news story. Crypto, still in bear market, yes. TSLL, maybe. There are many ways to leverage up. TSLL is one of them. Monday was NASDAQ rebalance. Today are people rebalancing after that rebalance. That's the macro reason I think it plans most of it. Not sure. Because look at all the other stocks. The semis and Micron was hit, of course, because of Korea. But Tesla, look at the other Mag 7. No one got hit like that. Tesla's not down today because of fake news. It's down because of all AI is down. But no, Kishar, look at the other AI stocks, like only the semiconductors and memory is down, not, Look at the Mag 7. Let's look at the Mag 7. What do we want to look at? NVIDIA, of course. NVIDIA is semi, but NVIDIA is 4.15%. Yeah, NVIDIA got hit, but that's not surprising. But when we look at Amazon, what is Amazon doing? Are you kidding me? This is what Amazon does. It's up. So what about Meta? Meta is flat, totally flat. Okay, Microsoft, I tell you, these guys are not very affected. It's up. So no, this was NVIDIA, Micron, SanDisk, like these people. I don't know, SanDisk is probably a little hit. SanDisk. Yeah, Centis got a little bit hit. 13%, but this is also completely nuts. This is like Korea. Let's see. 727% up year to date. Yeah. Price earnings, $68. Still not bad. So this was not a Max 7 problem. Wow, you have so many messages. Everyone who makes money off AI is selling today. But no, look at the Max 7. It's not totally true. Wow, we have so many. Are you telling me to load the boat, Joe? Well, if you have any boats left, yeah, load them. Tesla drop is all naked short selling. Yeah, I think it's just fake news and algos chiming in, and I think it will rebound. That's what I think. Double whammy for me, Micron and Tesla. Yeah. SpaceX is just mini float and just jumping around for now. I think there is some buying pressure still remaining, but I would not own SpaceX here. Not with this coming in August. Amazes me, off hours market goes down 10% before retail can even get into the market. Yes. An unrealized gains tax is not a tax, it's theft. Yes, that is true. Andy Peter says, I have same issues with random blocking of accounts with Saxo Bank. Last time it took 6 weeks to get it unblocked. No excuse, nothing. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with the banks that they're all going nuts and not even having a reason for it. I think they're just, maybe it's AI, phishing, hacking, too much hacking, and they just randomly block everyone if there's the slightest flag of any sort. China with its 50-year plan has entered the chat and left again laughing. Yeah. Well, they also have problems. Waymos need more LiDAR. Yes, more LiDAR. SK Hynix. I know. Just to clarify for everyone that does not know, AP and FSD are still engaged when you press the pedal. I have 3 Teslas with FSD. You can accelerate. You get immediate warning. Brakes won't apply. Wait, doesn't it disengage? What does... Looks like there's a massive call options valued around 4 million for 420 June strike prices. That signals something. No, there are 10 million reasons why people would buy calls. You can be a short fund and, hedge and all kinds of stuff. So sometimes people go short and then they have to buy calls. So you never know exactly why. Robert Carter says, Joe, I used FSD 2 hours today. It was perfect. It gets better and better. Please pump. I can't pump today. I'm too exhausted. This was like a horrible day. I had like everything coming at me so that I was even late for you guys. I'm never late. Well, that's not true, but I was very late today. I couldn't get off. I'm just saying, other than the fake news, that is what's going on yesterday. Yes. Kisha, I disagree. Meta, Google were already down a lot leading into the AI infrastructure crash. Well, are they down today? I know Google got killed yesterday. That was quite something. Well, today we got killed. Oh, Google, see? Google, nothing. Google, flat. Tesla wants to bounce off 360 per share, but I think the 380 is the bottom now. Well, I am not going to comment on this anymore. I don't want to jinx anything. I think MSD is hitting a bottom even though their leadership needs to be fired. Yes. Potential use for margin here. Ooh, you have to be cautious. You need to know when to do it. I use margin all the time, but you need to be very cautious and you need to be very ice cold and disciplined. And when things go wrong, you cannot think twice. You have to get out. So margin is very simple. You can only use margin if you're experienced and cold-blooded and are willing to take losses. There's a ton of demand at 150 for SpaceX. It goes below. Get ready to buy. Poxy, I would be cautious with SpaceX. I think the selling pressure will be insane in August. Someone should make a robot lawn care company called Elon. It's very funny. Street Cred Zero wins today's branding idea. Elon. I can see it. An amazing little robot that keeps your grass, your lawn in place. Never bet against Elon. Perfect. I like the slogan. I like everything about it. But to clarify, I agree, PA or FAT is not technically engaged any longer if the driver is overriding its function. Yeah, exactly, Bright Trades. Big trades with an H. Big H trades. Crashing because Tesla crashed into home. Conclusion, FSD not ready. But that's not true, trainee. Train to... What? Train, toy, train. Train, toy, train. Whew, what do we have here? Elon, so, oh God. How do we have so many messages? What's wrong with you guys? 112, I can't even read all messages. It's good. I like engaged. An engaged audience, but then I can't even... I need to level up my whole game here because, you know, we're getting bigger, and then I use Riverside, and they have a crappy little commentary thing, and at least it's not jumping anymore. I think they actually changed it. I'm always having my editor write these Riverside guys with all the bugs we find. I should get paid by Riverside for debugging their system. But I want to can I highlight any of your comments? This is all YouTube? Yeah, you're all on YouTube. No one is on X. Whew. Okay, let's see. How confident are you in Alexandra Mertz's prediction for SpaceX and Tesla merger by August? Well, I don't know. Not super confident. I think she has some good points. I understand the rationale why the merger happens sooner than later, but there are so many concerns about, like, the concerns are very simple. You know, SpaceX might be at the precipice of a total stock crash. For technical reasons, it's extremely highly valued. It's the revenue multiple is crazy. They have unlocks. The lockup period is running out August 11th all the way into November. You have 400% more float coming into the market, just selling pressure. You have no real floor for this thing yet. So that's one thing. So SpaceX might get cut in half very easily from 2 trillion to 1 trillion. I see absolutely nothing holding it back. At the same time, Tesla is the opposite. And I'm not talking as a Tesla fanboy. I'm just telling you guys, like, if they scale robotaxis, this thing doubles to 700. In this situation, to start doing a merger, plus the IPO just happened, so you are under heavy scrutiny by the SEC. Like, if you do a merger, do you really want to tell me you didn't know that before the IPO? And then you have massive legal problems, right? So the price discovery of SpaceX has not been completed and will not be really completed until all these lockups are done. Okay, so using SpaceX in any way as a currency to acquire Tesla while this crazy thing is happening, while the stock is clearly immature, objectively immature, with 5% float going to, 60%, that's crazy, right? You just take too much risk. That's my concern. So I think the earliest point that makes like safe sense is just way later. Matt Stock says tomorrow 6% plus Tesla. I think I would absolutely not bet against that. Let me put it like this. I would maybe not bet on it, but I would even less bet against the 6% plus day, but I don't want to jinx anything. I just sold out of the money puts on Meta. I don't know. I don't trust myself enough to make Meta predictions. I think a loan against unrealized gains should be taxed. Seems fair, but this is very hard to implement, says Ken. Keisha says, Elon responds to fake news. Leisure real estate, Waymo is not ready. That's why we are being recalled. Yes. I tell you why Tesla is a piece of shit and they sell it to buy SpaceX. I think that might still be part of the problem. Let's go back to our sad Tesla. It's just totally dead. We need news, but TBM is saying she thinks that they are holding back robotaxi until the merger price is locked. I refuse to believe that. I mean, this is all big weak force. This is all. I mean, it would be an insanely dangerous game if they do that, because it's extremely illegal to do these things. So I really don't think so. I don't think so. We have to recognize that FSD is like difficult. We have to recognize that cybercaps are being deployed all over the place. We have to recognize that FSD makes tremendous progress as an entire program. We are mass producing cybercaps. We're churning them out by the hundreds, and I would even say at the thousands in July. I think we are already at a run rate of 1,000 per month. So we're churning these things out like crazy. We are putting them all over the place, all over the map, in all these different cities, into the parking lots. Like, why do you think that is? I think we are making progress. It just is complicated. Kini Mod, I've been in Tesla for over 5 years and have made fewer gains than my wife has with some stupid ETFs. Yes, I know. This is the problem. We need some results this year. The merge makes more sense if later, then more tricky. Elon wants to go fast. I know, but it's very dangerous. Hallo aus Deutschland. Hello back to Germany. I made a tweet, by the way, that Elon is suing the ZDF, das zweite deutsche Fernsehen, this government TV station of Germany, the second one. And that is they have 30% market share together with the other TV station. So they're huge. And they made a total lie about Elon. You probably saw my tweet because Elon shared it like a big deal. 1.5 million views on this thing. And Elon is suing Germany. But this has nothing to do with cars. It has to do with the German ZDF saying Elon was calling the Irish people to go onto the streets and kill migrants. That's what they literally said on TV. And that's why Elon is suing them now. And he's totally winning, of course, because they literally said that. And it was a total lie. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. So that's not going to end well for that thing. And this is a very big deal in Europe right now. Teslas are selling like hotcakes here in Jersey. Good to know. We need sales. FSC is ridiculously good for road trips and a little annoying about parking, says JD Luke. Street Cred Zero says the fact that Zooks have LiDAR is why I sleep easy on them. Yeah, I mean, this is all fake news. FSD not good in parking lots, goes all over the place, great everywhere else. But Ken, do you have 14.3.4? That seems to be like a big leap. If Tesla doesn't deliver on the cities they promised by end of June, it will be a massive disappointment. So much opportunity cost, but I'm trying to be patient. Yeah, but I think all the disappointment is kind of priced into the stock. I don't think if they miss that self-proclaimed deadline, the stock is going to fall. I hope you're going back to 400 very quickly because this was ridiculous today. It was a very tough day. Kini Mod says Elon is completely justified to sue the ZDF. Yes, this is fun to watch. This is such a bloodbath for these people. They will lose so hard. This was so bad what they did. I believe a big pump is coming after the Tesla event in August, says Alan Sanchez. So what Tesla event? Do we have an event? Do you mean the Optimus thing? Do we have any confirmed event in August? Or do you mean the earnings call? That's in July, I guess. Well, Matt Stocks asked, where do you see Tesla by August, end of the year? I would say, given the whole situation, let's assume there's no merger. I do think when you see all these converging trajectories, I said that I believe it happens in June. If it doesn't happen in June, it doesn't change much in my belief that it will happen very soon. I do believe when you look at the cyber caps, when you look at the rollouts, okay, here's my point. How is it possible that we print all these cyber caps in the Austin Gigafactory, then deploy to the parking lots and park them there all over the place, not in Austin, but distributed around all these cities? What could possibly be the reason for that? The only reason for that is to actually use them. If you did not intend to deploy CyberCap commercially, why would you put them into parking lots across the nation and have like 40, 50, 60 of these things in parking lots neatly parked next to each other in all of these different cities? I don't know, maybe I'm stupid, maybe I'm not getting it, but what exactly could you possibly plan if not using them? And if that is actually the case, unless someone else has a better idea, and you have 50 or 60 in these parking lots, like, okay, how many do you think they want to accumulate there? How many? Like, I don't know, 1,000? They don't fit into the parking lot. So maybe 200 per city? Like, there must be a point where they want to use them. Okay, that's what I think. Here, Bruce Lee says, Bruce Lee is a German. Should I translate this in real time? Strictly speaking, says Bruce Lee, there wasn't a lawsuit that has been decided yet. Musk's attorney sent an Abmahnung, like a thing to the ZDF with a cease and desist letter. They followed the cease and desist, and they themselves admitted that their sentence is imprecise and confusing or can be misunderstood, and removed the passage from the video. But this is not the end of this thing, so we have to see more. People who missed the 5-for-1 and 3-for-1 stock splits in 2020, 2022 because they bought in late 2020 should stop complaining. Yes. Is today drop to the FUD about the Tesla crashing into home? Yes, Dark Fresh, that's our theory. Did we cover Tesla Boomer Mama's comment, says Fun390. Which comment? There were so many comments. Her comment that she doesn't like that the Tesla influencers and commentators comment too much on the merger, and that she doesn't like my ratchet. We didn't really cover that. The reason is they're awaiting permits and software updates. Well, but at what point is it enough? You've teased the flying car, I know. I teased the flying car too. FSC was a true game changer for me and my wife on road trips, takes all the pressure off at me and driving for my wife. The thing is, I started talking about it, resulting in an argument, says Street Cred Zero. JD Luke, but man, imagine a really, really wide rollout fast. I think that could happen. But when? It may distribute them not to make a bad impression showing thousands at once. Robotaxi announcement will happen by June 30th. Says Light Südefil. Let's hope so. When the price drops, you buy. You make your money on the buy. This was a great day. Yeah, it depends. It depends how much leverage you have. Tesla still building charge stations for them. True. Yeah, there's some infrastructure built out. The question is FSD actually ready? That is my... If I only knew FSD is finally fully ready, that would give me more peace of mind. Accidental FSD disengagement is an issue, probably. They might distribute them. not to make a bad impression, showing many hundreds in one place. But I mean, if you have 50, you can still make a bad impression. Tesla still building charge stations for those numbers? Maybe. I always say it's all about, does it work or not? Like, when does FSD actually work? Megapods, also a good idea. Elon mentioned an event when he teased the flying car. I know, but I would not bet on this event. I'm so tired of all the winning. Me too. Exactly. You just touch the brake or steering wheel and it can disengage. Exactly. This whole thing today was a joke, I tell you guys. I heard from a good source that Tesla will not sell cybercabs. Yes. I always said they're not going to sell it. It makes no sense. I did the modeling on it, the financial modeling. You would not sell this thing. Why would you ever sell it? When do you plan to open a position in SpaceX? I tell you exactly when. It's not so much a question of price, it's a question of timing. I will not open a position in SpaceX until I see a real market price discovery process, meaning all these locked up shares need to be in the market, which is November. So I will not do anything before November unless I see a totally massive crash, but that has to go way below 100 for me to take it. Because in November, if this all happens and it's still at 120 or whatever, that's fine with me. Can you explain the worst case scenario for Tesla investors when merge happens? No, not really. I mean, there are so many possible scenarios. I do not think that there can be a merger that is too bad for Tesla investors, because if you propose the merger, you do not want to propose anything that risks a no vote. And Alexandra, I think, is a little too light on that topic, where she says, well, investors have no say in this. I disagree. Investors have a lot of say in this. You need the investors. And the idea that there are somehow institutional investors who have it all under control and there are retail investors who don't know what they're doing is inaccurate, because you have a very large share of investors who are in between, who are institutional investors, but they're not the top 6 funds. What about all of them? Right? So there is no clear delineation between what is the difference between a $10 million Tesla retail investor and a $10 million family office and a $25 million fund holding. I mean, they're all the same. They're smart people who do investing. So you need votes, and you can't just pull off some merger against the interests of Tesla shareholders with the help of like 5 mega funds, because all of them can get sued. So if they have any kind of conflict of interest with SpaceX. Is November the last lockup period for SpaceX? Long story short, yes. There's a longer lockup period of 366 days for Elon and some early investors and some very big shareholders. But I think 60% of the shares get unlocked by November by all the other guys. So in November, I think it's basically done. Alexandra and others seem uncomfortably pushy about the merger. Maybe they know something, but something seems fishy. Who knows? I don't know. I don't think so. You can be pushy without something going on, but yeah, I'm not very nervous about it. I will observe the situation. I like Tesla, I like SpaceX, but things need to be fair and balanced, and they need to be based on valuations that make sense, and then everyone can make a decision. So yes, exactly. So that is the situation. Let's wrap it up here. I'm so exhausted. Today was such a horrible day. Today was really bad. I'm actually had a tough time today. Not just because of Tesla, but Tesla was one of the reasons. But very good questions. We know what to do. I think there was fake news. I think the market is in good shape. I think the Kospi crashed for a good reason and doesn't change the trend. The Nasdaq went down 2%, not a big deal, doesn't change the trend. Tesla was slaughtered based on fake news and will bounce back very likely, I hope. Unless this is because of something else that I don't understand. I hope not. Many people have said they aren't selling and there has been liquidity for employees previously, so I'm sure some shares will sell, but it might be surprising how little is sold. I agree with waiting. Well, Poxy Frostbite, it doesn't matter too much. If you have 5% float and that increases to 60% float, and 100% of the 60 of the 55% coming into the market can only create selling pressure. They cannot create buying pressure. It doesn't even matter how many people want to sell because it is massive selling pressure, even if it's just a tiny little piece. So not including your derivative position, what percentage is Tesla in your long-term investment portfolio? Roughly 60%. But my derivative position is very massive. But it changes all the time. Koreans definitely sold to cover their margins. Yes, but now they will get on the margins again. The market is mostly herd behavior. Of course, a herd can drive itself off a cliff. Yes, like today. Drive themselves off a cliff with FSD disengaged. In particular, they do have the required redundant steering actuation, including an independent second steering motor, or would European safety rules limited? Moral of Joe's story: buy Tesla, but not advise, just smart. Exactly. Never advise, just thoughts. Okay, guys, now I have to go to bed. This was like, oh, what a horrible day, but I fixed everything at least. But good to see everyone. Tomorrow we have a political video. I have to comment on the EU situation and this whole applause situation and send them back. Chance in the EU Parliament, a break with a long tradition of not doing that. I will have a video on that will be fun, hopefully, for everyone. So we need to get more political. There's so much political stuff happening. Okay, thank you guys. Great to have you and see you tomorrow. Hopefully for a better performance of Tesla. Yeah, thank you guys. I have to sleep now. Bye-bye.